Hello, my name is Jennifer Duffel, and today I'm going to be discussing my research topic, which is self-management, the essential method for the success of students diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. I won't lie, this research paper was extremely difficult for me. I'm a first-year special education teacher. I teach 9th grade co-teach at Russellville Junior High, and with the coming semester, I will be taking over 4 of the resource English classes. But since this is my first year, I'm still learning. There's a lot of lingo and jargon that comes along with special education, and it's very intimidating. So when we were told to discuss a theory, I know what a theory is, and I know what a theory in education is, but when you tie it to something like autism spectrum disorder, I became a little intimidated. However, there is one thing that I knew I wanted to discuss. As a co-teach, something that bothers me is that in the classroom you have children with special needs, many which are ASD in my class, along with other health impairments and other disorders. And then you have the normal education students. My students know that they're different, and not in a good way different. It makes them very insecure. They realize that they finish their work considerably slower if they finish it all. They struggle reading the assignments that other kids breeze through. They don't understand the jokes or the conversations that go on in the room, and it breaks my heart. But even more, it breaks their grades. And so my goal is to find a way to normalize them as much as possible, because what's going to happen is if we don't normalize these students, especially in my area of co-teach where their levels are high enough to where they are going to be more in the general population, they're going to struggle when they graduate. Because if we don't teach them skills now, they're never going to survive in the real world. Majority of my students can barely read directions and comprehend. They cannot acquire new skills. They struggle practicing their old skills. Time is always an issue, time management, as well as their social skills. They're going to be the ones that every once in a while have outbursts. They don't always know what's appropriate and inappropriate, especially when it comes to the opposite sex. Sometimes they stare too long. So these are things I want to correct for their sake. Another reason I really am passionate about this is because something that I've noticed with my kids is that they believe they are helpless. I believe it's something that's been ingrained in them. I think, I don't want to blame other teachers, but they say, I don't understand this. Miss Duffel, help me on every single question, when I know that's not the case. They have figured out, I shouldn't say figured out, they have come to believe that they don't know anything, that they aren't smart, that they can't figure this out. And so they feel like they need someone else, they have to rely on someone else, and that is just simply not true. I want them to come to the realization that they are smart, that they can do this, and they are capable. Another reason is that majority of my students, primarily my ASD students, have high anxiety. They stress out when they don't do something right. They get angry when they can't have enough time to finish an assignment. They'll be the ones that do have, like I said, the outburst. I had a kid the other day have an emotional outburst because a boy in the room was doing something that he didn't think was morally right. And while I did agree with him, it wasn't the time and place to have that outburst. And so these are things I want to help them with as much as humanly possible. I really believe these kids are capable of so much more than they think they are, and I do not want them falling through the cracks just because they're autistic. So with that, to be honest, did a Google search. I didn't know what theory would be the most helpful, so I put in those issues that I'm concerned about, especially the social behaviors, problematic behaviors, outbursts, and tried to find theories that best helped control those. And I came upon self-management theory. So self-management theory simply is giving them the capability to manage their own behavior, to have a behavior that they know is bad. They're going to target that behavior, and through the course of time and monitoring and evaluation, they're going to change that behavior. And I think this is amazing because, like I said, so many of them think they can't do anything. Not only are they going to change these problematic behaviors, but they're going to be doing it themselves for themselves. And that's an amazing thing. So some of the first things about self-management is that it's a plan. I love that it's a plan. I don't think anything is successful if you don't first have a plan. The very first thing you obviously have to do is target these behaviors. What are the behaviors that need to change? The second one is you need to set a goal. This is something that the teacher and the student needs to do together. You're going to say, you know what, hey, let's work on getting your assignments turned in once a week if they're not turning them in at all. And you're going to start going from there, and you're going to take action. You're going to take action, and you're going to do this generally through monitoring. One of the favorite methods of self-monitoring that I came across was just video. The kids are going to be allowed to video themselves. One of the references that I talked about was a man who has invented this watch, and it helps his students. He said it was great because it was much better than, them holding up a phone the whole class period. Instead, they had this little bitty thing, and it recorded and it lit up when they did certain things, and I thought that was amazing. But video, you can set a camera up anywhere in a room, of course, with parent permission. And at the end of each class, you and them are going to watch that video back, and they're going to get to see what maybe they haven't really seen and understood before. Then you are going to evaluate. I suggested in the paper that the teacher evaluates as well as the student, and then you compare. I love the idea that you have a scale of 1, I didn't meet my goal, 2, I almost met my goal, and 3, I met my goal. If the student and the teacher agree on that number, especially, if it's I met my goal, they get a reward. They need to be rewarded. And that's the last step of the plan, is reinforcement. Because without reinforcement, without that public applause or some kind of motivation, they're going to struggle to get this done. I believe this is extremely beneficial to the school. I think all teachers need to implement this into their classroom. It's so easy. It's actually taking things off our plate and giving it back to the students. With self-management, not only are they doing it for themselves, they're not constantly needing my attention. I'm now able to monitor the whole room and circulate the whole room and give attention to the other students in the classroom instead of having to focus everything on that student all of the time. The also great thing is once they graduate from this goal, once they have met this goal and they have, fixed this problem behavior, they can move on to another one. And they can do this for the rest of their lives. And that's probably the best part of this is a skill set that they can take for the rest of their lives. When they go for a job and they realize, okay, I have a problem behavior here, they can monitor, they can evaluate, and they can change. That way they can be successful in something other than just school. I actually ended up loving this topic. It was a hard project, but I love the idea of self-management, and it is something that I plan on implementing into my classroom immediately. I actually wish I had a little bit more time before the semester ended because I have several students that I know could benefit from this. But my hope is that you and anyone else who sees this understand what self-management is and will also begin to implement this into your class. Thank you and have a great day.